Hey.
Hey-o.
I'm Shaman.
This is our first one, so we're gonna just get started. I'm Alina. I'm a therapist here at Harper Therapy.
I'm Christian. I'm the front office person here at Harper Therapy.
He's front office, front line, front everything.
And I'm Shaman. I just hang out and manage social hour usually.
Yes. True. And co-founder, co-owner of the practice. So Shaman Harper, that is, of Harper Therapy.
Okay, fair.
So we are here today. You might wonder, what am I doing with these fine gentlemen here today?
I know, we normally do 3, do we?
Yeah, we don't.
Right.
Yeah. And Christian
I'm normally never
is not.
Yeah.
He likes to be behind the curtain, like the Wizard of Oz.
Exactly.
But we're here today. The reason we're here today is we wanted to talk specifically to some of the men out there who we see in our practice and maybe who we don't see yet. Just about something that we feel is not talked about enough, but is very, very prevalent.
Right. Particularly coming off the holidays, because
Right.
the holidays bring all this stuff up, right? Like,
stirs up stuff.
right. Gets things going, makes you, I mean, really, we're talking about grief.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're not going to keep you in suspense. We are talking about grief. And so you might ask, grief, like, what are you talking about? Grief is something that comes up. Like, when I think of grief, just my immediate thing is crying over losing someone, right? Or something. Like, loss of a relationship, loss of a person or loved one.
Right.
That's kind of what comes up for me. What comes up for you guys?
Same thing. I mean, I think when you think about grief, right? Mm-hmm. You think about for me it's easy. I lost my dad a couple years ago, and that, to me, when you think about grief, that's like everything that's defined in grief for me right there is like, oh, I lost my dad. Right.
Okay.
And so to me, it would be like losing somebody, or at least that's the conventional thing you think about it.
Right.
Well, I can tell you, I take the phone calls here and I talk to all our new patients and everything, and a lot of what I get when guys call in, they're not necessarily calling in about grief. Right. Not like that sad, sobby grief that a lot of people think about. Right. Most of the time they're calling in, they're having a lot of anger. They're getting really frustrated. Their relationship is falling apart, not necessarily even with their loved one, their significant other, but with anybody. Their relationships are falling apart. Even they're feeling it physically, anxiety coming on, depression. But a lot of the time, guys don't call it grief when they call in, but a lot of times it ends up being some sort of grief.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Because it's like, they'll talk around it, and they'll give you all the symptoms of it, but they're not like, it's not till they're like sitting with you for a while that all of a sudden, wow, maybe that's grief.
Right. And I think that's kind of what we wanted to talk about today, because grief, again, when you think of it as this construct of you lose someone, it's a process. Like, a lot of people know about the 5 stages of grief, right? Like denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. There's like a linear model, or there's a time frame in which you're supposed to feel grief, and then you're done. Right?
Oh, absolutely. You got 5 days.
Right.
Get over it. Right.
Yeah.
On to the next step.
Exactly. And so I think the conversation we want to have today is talking about grief in a different context. And so grief really can come up in so many different areas, and it's kind of like this. They talk about anger as an umbrella emotion. Grief can be somewhat of an umbrella emotion as well. It's nebulous at times. There are grief comes up over the loss of an illusion or a dream or an expectation, a hope, right? Like, how many of you thought your life would look one way and it doesn't? Right.
Like I was supposed to be married and have kids and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, at this age.
Right. Or I was supposed to be a professional athlete.
Right.
Or, whatever it is.
Right. And a major event comes along, something like COVID, and ruins a lot of the...
curveball.
Right. I mean, throw everything off.
Right.
And sometimes I'm still like, when is 2020 going to start?
Right. Or the thing is, you could have achieved all those things. You could have gotten, the wife, the kids, the... career, all these things you've strived for, and then you're like, wait, is this it? Like, is this all there is?
Right.
And that can bring up grief too,
like a loss of that whole, I thought it would be this,
yes,
and it didn't end up being that, and now it's just,
what now?
Right.
So in the next few weeks we're going to talk about how grief manifests the different ways it can come out, and kind of what is on the other side of it. What's the hope in dealing with this kind of big emotion?
Right. I think it gets to be kind of very revealing as you think you're just dealing with anger or frustration, or your relationship is out of sync with your significant other or friend or whoever, right? It could be any relationship. Or maybe you just like feeling like that loss, or like that stress at work, or like the frustrations of going on of just I just can't get it going, or whatever, right?
You just kind of feel like you're in the hamster wheel and you can't get off, or it's just this like Groundhog's Day, right?
I don't think many of us attribute those things, just like Christian was saying, to like, wow, I'm really going through grief, like as a core component of why I feel this way, or I'm experiencing these things. Right. I'm really dealing with some sort of grief. And that's what I was saying a minute ago about the holidays bring this up. Right. Because I think it brings it up in the conventional sense because we think about people that aren't with us, or those we lost. You go through the TV channels are showing, or I was on Facebook the other day and there's an article about all the people we lost, all the famous people we lost this year in 2021. They love doing that. Yeah, and they do. And then but that we do that just in our lives, like, wow, this is, we lost this person and that person, and
but not only that, men are not really conditioned well for
grief.
It's
great point.
Growing up, be a man. That's what I was always kind of what society showed us, right?
I think that's what we're taught. Like, men aren't taught how to deal with grief, like they're just not,
It's vulnerable. It's a vulnerable conversation to have, and I think when you come into therapy, sometimes people come in and they're looking for this answer. Like, give me the answer. Give me the quick fix. Right. And, we offer solution, but sometimes we have to be willing to walk through the mess of what's going on inside.
Right.
So that is what we'll be talking about over the next few weeks. And we're going to break it down a little bit into the different things, the ways it can manifest, and kind of some of the hope that we have in helping people working through grief.
Right. I think if this touches a chord with you, you can give us a call at 813-434-3639. Thanks, guys. Everyone. Have a good week.